Hello and welcome to what will probably be the third release in SW's podcast series, Property Matters. Today I'm joined by Tom and Nick from our Northeast team. How are you both doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at SW.
Nick, do you want to go first?
Yep. So I'm Nick. I work in Sanderson Weatherall's rating and CPO team based in the Northeast, dealing with statutory valuations for rating and CPO.
Yeah, I'm Tom. I work in the Newcastle office within the valuation department, predominantly doing loan security valuations on an array of asset classes. And I have had previous experience working within the agency and property management teams.
Thank you very much. I think for this episode, because Tom and Nick are both recently qualified, they sat their APC virtually last year, and I think we're among the sort of first group to do that. We're going to just dive into talking a bit about the APC process and how it went doing it via Zoom. So you were some of the very first students to do it. How did you feel sort of when you found out you weren't going to actually physically go and do your interview?
I think to start with, about this time last year, there was rumours that COVID-19 was heading for the UK, and myself and Tom were monitoring whether that would affect our APC. And when everything happened, initially I thought that the APC should be postponed. I didn't think it would be possible online because a lot of it is how you come across to the panel, etc. But once kind of time went on and I was more prepared, online was the best way forward. And given how long we've been in lockdowns, etc. this year, it was definitely a good thing to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to just get it over and done with, to be honest. I'd spent a lot of time revising, and I just felt if it was delayed, then I'd lose all the knowledge that was in my head, because obviously there is a fair bit that you need to pack in there. So yeah, I mean, I was pushing for it to go ahead, and obviously when it did, so I was pretty pleased.
Yeah, probably actually I should go back to basics a little bit for any non-surveyors or any sort of budding surveyors. Do one of you want to talk us through what you actually need to do to get qualified? Because the interview, I guess, is the final piece.
Yeah, so it's basically 2 years worth of training. So when you qualify from university, you'll then join a firm and you need to do 2 years worth of structured training, and you need to cover various competencies ranging from mandatory to more technical competencies. And luckily I managed to, like I said before, get a fair bit of experience within various different departments, which certainly helps, because you have to document all the experience and you need to work out what you've achieved at level 1, which is knowledge and understanding, what you've done at level 2, which is where you've actually done the job, and then level 3 is providing advice to a client. So you have to submit a submission which documents all of your experience, and then you need to do a separate case study, which is more of an in-depth focus on a job that you've done, and then on the day you present your case study via a presentation for 10 minutes, and then you get questioned on your other bits of your submission for the rest of the interview.
That's great. Good answer there, Tom.
Yeah, thank you very much. I do try.
So the final interview, it's, I think, at the best of times, a big thing to have to prepare for. With everything else going on, we just entered lockdown. Was that just like another added pressure that you took in your stride, or did it really ramp it up for you?
I think on this one, historically, people sit in the APC, there's a lot of pressure anyway. Historically, you had to go to a centre, which for the north is Bolton, at the football stadium. So there's different pressures. You sit in a waiting room with other candidates, probably getting very nervous, and then you have to go and do the interview. Our pressures was different. We were sat at home, but that didn't make it any easier, I don't think, because you're just there with your thoughts, trying to collect everything that you've learned over the last 2 years and demonstrate it to the panel. So I think it's hard to compare what the interviews were before and how they are virtually, but there definitely is still pressure on a virtual setting.
Yeah, I think it takes the stress of obviously having to, like Nick said, go down travel down there and stay in a hotel room overnight, and then see all the other candidates before you sit. Luckily I could just went for a walk along the quayside and had a nice early night, or at least tried to. Ended up getting about 1 hour's sleep, but and the next day, that you wake up in the morning and it's a little bit more relaxed. I was able to have breakfast in the living room and then just go into my bedroom and sit my APC. So it was a little bit strange, but it does take all of that stress out of having to travel down there and the like. So yeah.
Tom, I think sort of we spoke about before, but you were able to get up, have your breakfast, maybe a quick read through your notes, and then you sat quite early. But Nick, I think you sat later in the day, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I got it out the way and done with early on, which I was pleased about. And these guys were sitting around twiddling their thumbs all day.
Yeah, I think Tom's was at 9 o'clock or 9:30 or something, and my interview wasn't until 2 o'clock, I don't think.
Yeah.
So on the morning, I actually ended up going for about a 2-hour walk just because I couldn't sit looking at my notes anymore. So it was nerve-wracking, but it's one of them things.
Then I've sort of touched on it really, but I know you've said the stresses, I guess, of going away and then meeting the panel, but what do you think was easier and what was harder about having to sit it virtually?
I think it was harder to build a rapport with the assessors. I know a guy that I live with actually sat his APC at the same time, and luckily I didn't have any problems with the connection, but I know that my flatmate did, and it kept cutting out. So that's an issue, which is always going to be there if you're doing it virtually. And yeah, I don't know. Can you think of anything else, Nick?
I mean, just on that technology, I actually managed to reboot my laptop at the start of my assessment, which completely threw me off. So there are obviously some, and the other one I was thinking about was if the DPD man was going to come banging on the door halfway through, or the neighbour was going to decide to do some DIY, and there were a lot of things that you can't control, but there were a lot of things you could. So being in your own house, you know the setting, you can practice using your webcam, all of that. So there definitely are pros and cons.
Yeah, that actually happened to me, to be honest, Dan. I said to my flatmate, who was also sitting his APC on the first day, he's getting things delivered all the time. So I said to him, can you make sure that on this day, nothing gets delivered? He goes, don't worry about it. I promise you, nothing will get delivered. I goes, brilliant. 5 minutes before the end, there's a knock on the door and it's a bloody postman, isn't it? So I wasn't best pleased. That's it.
Well, you both got through it, so you've obviously done well enough on the call to do that. Outside of the APC, how have you found sort of working from home? I know, Tom, you might go into the office a little bit when you can. How's it been, sort of in general?
So for me, I live about 45 minutes away from Newcastle, so the bonus of working from home has been not having the normal commute, which on some days could take up to an hour and a quarter. Obviously, the downside is not being in the office, not being able to bounce ideas off colleagues in different departments, and all of that, and just getting out the house more. But the positives are definitely less commuting, and also a lot of meetings which may have been done in person are now being done virtually. So we can have a meeting with a client in Wales and then go straight onto a meeting with a client in the Northeast. So from that side of it, it's been quite good.
Yeah, I mean, I miss the social side of things. I mean, it's a really good office to work in Newcastle. Lots of different personalities, and you just miss that crack every day. But I mean, with me working in valuation, obviously it's quite nice just to be able to sit down and have no distractions and just be able to get on and write my reports. So on that front, I suppose that's a positive. But yeah, I'm looking forward to things going back to normal.
Yeah, I should probably just say, actually, for anyone listening that's maybe further south than Yorkshire, if you do need a transcript for Tom's accent, then feel free to get in touch, because he's got a great accent, but quite a strong one.
I have.
just going back then, if there's those obviously looking to sit and it looks like APCs will be virtual, at least for the time being, what sort of recommendations or advice would you give to people that are sitting in the upcoming months?
Start early.
Go on, Tom, sorry.
I think starting early, getting all your prep done as early as possible. Don't leave things till the last minute. Make sure that your submission, you've been through it and you've passed it to different colleagues and passed it around different offices. Get as many people to check over it as possible, and do as many mock interviews as you can. I think it's very important too.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what Tom said. Your submission is probably the one thing you can actually control. So what you write in your submission should be what the assessors test you on. So don't put things in your submission that you didn't do, or don't put things in your submission that you don't know a lot about, because those are the key examples that they're going to talk to you about. The only other point on the online that I found quite helpful is if you get quite nervous in the interview, if you look down the camera, you're actually looking at the panel. So in terms of eye contact, looking down the camera is important rather than looking at wherever your screen may be. That was quite an interesting point that I didn't really think about until a couple of days before. But making eye contact is actually looking at your camera rather than the screen.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you. I guess on a bit more of a personal level, perhaps, but when we're out of the pandemic, where's the first place you're both sort of raring to get back to?
The pub.
St James's.
Yeah, followed by a football stadium.
And
ideally the two in the same day.
Or a nice festival.
Tom, you're a definite festival man, aren't you? They seem like they might be gone for a little while, I'm afraid.
Yeah. No, I obviously miss my live music and miss the football, and I'm longing for that sort of stuff to come back, but we'll see.
Not the office then. That's not the first place you're heading.
Well, I'm here anyway, so.
We'll finish as we have done on the sort of other two podcasts with a few quickfire questions. I don't know if you two have seen them or whether you're sort of going to be caught on your toes, but I'll ask a question and then just take it in turns. We'll do the answers at the same time, I think, just to see. So question number one, are you coffee or tea drinkers?
Good question. I love cups of tea. Have to be tea.
Coffee for me.
Oh, very good split. And then reading or Netflix, what do you fill your time with?
Netflix,
yeah.
Netflix, go on. I'll put you on the spot. Any recommendations?
Night Stalker is brutal, but very good.
Money Heist for me. I've just been.
Don't watch Money Heist. It's terrible.
That's only because you don't want to read the subtitle.
Hey.
Very good. In terms of houses, are you new build or period properties?
Period properties.
New build for me.
Oh, very good. Good split. Shopping, online or high street?
High street.
Online. Hate going to the shop.
Very good.
Hate sending stuff back.
And then sort of moving forward, what are you looking forward to? Are you working from home or in the office, or a bit of a split?
In the office.
If I had to go for one or the other, I'd go office, but I think there's a balance to be had.
Very good. And then finally, you can have a dream dinner guest. Who would you pick and why?
Oh, a great question. This needs some thought there.
Does it? Throw it right in at the end.
Grant Holt.
Big Norwich fan or a wrestling fan? What is it?
Well, either, but Norwich, yeah.
Go on, Tommy.
Tommy?
Musical legend.
David Attenborough.
I think Josh might have said that in the first one. I think that's quite a good answer.
Yeah.
Good dinner party, that. Josh, Tom, and David.
Josh, Tom, and David. We'll get it set up if we
can. We have that as a podcast, please.
Yeah, that's it. On next week, we've got David Attenborough and Josh and Tom coming back. So tune in for that. All right. Well, thank you both very much. I know you were maybe not sure how it would go, but I think that went pretty well. Whizzed through it at your request, Nick, not to make it last too long.
Excellent.
So we'll let you get on and enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank
Cheers.
you very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.